Alright guys, welcome back. And we're doing this a week after the episode. So that is something. That is, it is what it is. We were kind of lazy. We were kind of just sitting out a bit. Oh, let me just resize the thing, by the way. My bad. It is what it is. Um, so yeah, we're back. We're talking about Survivor 44, episode 2. And tonight is Wednesday, so we're obviously going to be heading into episode 3, and we're going to see how that goes. But we're talking about episode 4 here. We're going to recap it a bit. It was a short episode, obviously, uh, and nothing much really happened of substance, obviously, except for Helen getting voted out. And we're going to talk about Helen, but let's just get right into it. And we got Blaze in the chat. Thanks, Blaze, for talking, saying woo. I like that. We got a hype man in here finally. That's good. Make sure to like the video. Make sure to subscribe, by the way, and turn on notifications so you never miss a stream. And apparently we missed every stream, so it's okay. But we're gonna get into it. Okay, we're gonna start off with camp. Um, so we start off the episode with Matthew revealing he was in on the Maddie boot and talks about how he won in many aspects in the vote. He talks about getting rid of Maddie, who was obviously targeting him according to exit interviews, and not having to take a side by using the shot in the dark. Which again, I don't understand what that even means. Like, how are you not taking a side? Like, you should just vote Brandon and then tell Brandon that you're voting him. So you use his idol, and then you win both ways. Because then you can play both sides even better than you did with using the shot in the dark. That was kind of a dumb move there. I don't know why he's so proud of that, personally. But obviously, it was not right. It was not the right move in my opinion. I think many people actually agree. I think even RHAP agrees. RCrap, which we know their opinions are garbage. But next up, okay. Yeah, so yeah, that's just Matthew recapping the last episode pretty much. He basically gives us a previous on that is no longer there. Um and then yeah, he talks about flushing Brandon's idol, which again, Brandon was his ally, so I don't know if he should have done that necessarily. Like flushing the idol. It goes both ways because he can use it to his advantage later on, but also Brandon might be a formidable threat to him later on as well. So it's iffy. And we got Blaze in the chat saying, I feel like him using the shot in the dark is such an overrated move. I mean, who even respects this move? Literally, who respects this? I don't know one person that's actually for him using the shot in the dark. I don't know one person actually. I think most people actually agree that it was the wrong move. And Noelle, yeah, obviously Noelle using the steal vote to like make someone feel comfortable. I forgot who. I think it was honestly I forgot who, but she used it to make someone feel comfortable, by stealing Owen's vote, right? To blindside somebody, and it was like completely useless, right? Like what is that gonna do? I don't know what that achieves. It's just moronic, honestly. Just steal the person's vote and use it how you want, guaranteed. I don't know what they're doing, right? So yeah, we just talked about Matthew here, and Matthew, we get his recap. He immediately, in terms of the edit, this is actually good for him because he's actually explaining why he uses shot in the dark. Oh yeah, and it was the blindside James. And again, I don't know how I feel about that, but we'll talk. It is what it is. It's 40. It's 42. Okay, this is 44. This is a 2 seasons later, and it's sort of the same move. In many ways, it is kind of the same move. It's pretty much the exact same move because, yeah, Matthew could have just. It was obviously the suboptimal move. It wasn't a game-ending move, obviously, but it was definitely not the right thing to do in terms of maximizing your chances of winning the game and getting to that tribal council with the least damage possible. It lowered her threat level. Yeah, yeah, she went home the next episode. It's like instead of using the steal vote or extra vote or whatever she had, she should have got an extra leg or something. Oh yeah, 43. That was 43. Oh my god, I'm confusing these seasons. My bad. 43 was so long ago. It was honestly so long ago. But we're talking about 43. Let's talk about 44, okay? 44 is literally a one up on 43, even though Gabler won. That was amazing. But let me not get off topic here. So yeah, Matthew talks about how he plays it off at camp. He's talking about how he was playing survival mode and he was desperate, and we know it's not true because he's already mentioned it before to us in the confessionals that obviously he played it for game reasons beyond the fact that he was paranoid in survival mode. And then Lauren closes off the pretty much uh the camp by saying that her bank vote is good and she has it now. She's gonna be successful and powerful, so that's fine. And then Kane obviously gets confronted by Brandon and shrugs it off as a consensus vote, even though it was literally just him who voted who voted for Brandon. Even though actually I think Jamie, if she was forced to make a decision, she would have probably sided with Maddie and Lauren as well. But then we know that according to Maddie, Lauren and Brandon were really tight, so we don't know how that would have went actually. So maybe Maddie could have easily been the first boot regardless if everyone had their pick. Like if Matthew had this pick, obviously he wanted Maddie out. That's 2 on Maddie. And then if Lauren votes that way, it's probably gonna be Maddie. And then it's up to Jamie whether she wants to tie it or not. Again, Maddie, I know she's a lot of people say that she's one of the best first boosts of all time. I don't know if I can actually agree with that, to be honest. Like I don't even know if that is actually a good argument, considering we know that okay, she went to Matthew who she was targeting, and then told him what to do. That was a game-ending decision right there. And even then, you could argue that she might actually get out anyways, even if everyone voted. Um, yeah, and Jamie, yeah, Jamie's a joke, obviously. Her game is gonna last as long as her TikToks do. It's gonna be laughable how long she lasts in the game. It's not gonna be long, okay? But but yeah, so Kane gets confronted. He talks about repairing his relationship with Brandon. We'll see how that goes. That could be set up for something with Brandon in the future. Just like we got, Matthew talking about how why he made his decision. And then we get a confessional right after that says Brandon says, "I don't trust Kane at all." So that could be also a knock against Kane. Again, Kane is not going to win this game. It's laughable his chances. Jamie's playing a better game than him, and Kane's like a big super fan. It's a joke. Okay. So yeah, and yeah, that's what we get. We got Matthew talking, and then we move on. We move on to Soko, which has had like the least content so far. We're at Soko. We're with Daniel and or Danny. Uh, Danny has a good saying for idol hunting. He finds an idol and he says, "If you're not looking for an idol, he says he doesn't know how to find it. He doesn't know the best way to find an idol, but he knows the worst way, and that's not looking." And I agree, and I think this is actually true in many aspects of not just Survivor, but also in everywhere in the world in your life. Um, and unless you're in Survivor 44 with the Beware advantage is literally just a camp for players to see, like Brad, then that statement's probably going to be true because in Survivor 44 and 41 you didn't have to look because it's like they just put it at camp. So the people that are not leaving camp are actually getting rewarded with idols and stuff. Um, do you think everyone on Soka except for Matt, Franny, and maybe Claire are dead because we don't see the? Yeah, Josh is dead. Josh is as dead. Okay, I'm not gonna make that joke. That's terrible. That's not a good joke. But Josh is done. Okay, and who are the other ones? Heidi. Heidi's done. She's not gonna win. And the other one, who was the other one even? Oh yeah, Danny. Danny's fine. I think Danny still has a shot. Danny has an outside shot, but the other two are completely gone. They're done. Yeah, Jamie has a better chance than them at winning based on the edit. Okay, it's laughable. Josh hasn't even had the time to show his story in 2 episodes, and he has a great story. Like that's when you know that he's not gonna win the game. Um, unless the producers really just want to shove it in our face because we. I'm not gonna make the joke because it's really bad, and I regret even thinking of that joke. It's terrible. I'll say it off screen, but it's not a good joke. It's not good. It's so bad. It's so rude. It's terrible. But yeah, and so Danny finds the idol. He finds a Bayware. He finds the key to the idol, and he easily takes it without anybody even finding out that he took it. Um, and then he does a Fortnite floss when he finds it. So that's Danny for you. And look, you don't have any. You don't have a toothbrush out there, so you have to floss somehow, right? you gotta clean those teeth. Um, and so yeah, so we go to Tika and we have Carolyn who's looking hard for the key. She compares us to looking through her son's poop, for lack of a better word, for his tooth, and immediately finds a key after. So again, she talks about looking through shit, and I don't even know what to say about that. That is her choice. She can do whatever she wants. I mean, like that's dedication right there, I guess, right? I'm not even gonna get into that. Like you can do whatever you want. You can look through your son's poop if you want. If you want to touch that garbage, you can do that. And if you want to put that tooth, the shitty tooth, literally a shitty tooth, under a pillow where he sleeps, then that's your choice. Unless you're like spraying alcohol all over it, okay? But even then, I just can't sleep with that under, even if it's all cleaned, right? And so yeah, Danny and Carolyn, after finding their keys, go on their separate efforts to unlock the cage and retrieve the idol and its corresponding fake. Danny, we actually see really interesting foil to each other. We have Danny finding it really easily, seemingly, and then Caroline seems to fumble her mission because she grabs the idol, she leaves the cage empty and open. Actually, she runs back to close it, but leaves the pouch empty. And this obviously sparks a lot of discussion at camp where they're all speculating. It's kind of like a game of Among Us at this point, where they're kind of speculating where the idol is and in whose hands it is. So we see Carson like using his like FBI tactics. Um, Wait, what Blaze? What is how is what relevant? Uh And so yeah, we see him using like his FBI tactics to read through the situation. He tries to read, like, he thinks Helen is hiding something when she's literally not hiding anything except for the fact that she's a terrible player. I'm joking, by the way. I don't think Helen's a bad player. I think she has potential, and she kind of got screwed because she had like the Erica effect, where people are gonna look at her like Erica. Same thing with like Cameron and in BB19. You know, they target the nerd because they've won so many times. We got Steve, we got Ian, we got Andy, all these people, even Nicole Franzel, I guess. So they get targeted because of their look, I guess. I think that's partially somewhat true. Um, and by the way, Raccoon can't even spell California right. That's why he's not on the show right now. So if you want to know why he's not on, you know why he's not on. But yeah, so Carolyn realizes, okay, I have to hide the idol back. She obviously puts it back, and then obviously we get that drama ensuing. Sarah thinks it's Jam Jam. Jam Jam thinks it's Sarah. It's like everyone thinks it's everybody but Carolyn, but nobody thinks it's Carson either. So that's a good thing for Carson there. And also another thing of note is confusing to the viewers probably is that Danny and Carolyn's idols seem to be opposites, where one's fake is the other's real one. So I don't know if that's actually just Carolyn misunderstanding what it is, or if that's what the kind of the beware advantage part of it is, where it's like, okay, you have a fake that you can use as a real because the other person will get fooled, because it's really hard. It's like a total, it's a bunch of, it's like a paradox. It's like you're going into this and that. It's really confusing for the viewers. I don't know why they're trying to make the show so confusing with all the advantages they do. Even like in episode 1, we're talking about the inheritance advantage, right? We talk about Sarah. Blaze and I had a debate about what this was, and Blaze is right, by the way. Blaze was right that it is an advantage where you play it at tribal council, predicting who's going to play what advantage or whatever, and everybody who plays an advantage at tribal council, they get the they you know, they get every advantage they got. And by the way, we got Bryce in the chat. Blazer mod, please take action against this guy. We don't want him talking in here. We know that he's banned. He's banned from the podcast. But yeah. So, by the way, that's pretty much it for the idols. We see, obviously, another thing of note is Carolyn seeing snakes, getting scared, and that puts off everyone else from looking, and then she finds the idol herself. So let's go on to the challenge. And again, the challenge, I'm not a big fan of challenges. I don't really care about challenges. I'm kind of like, um, I'm apathetic to challenges, to be honest. It is what it is. You watch the show, um, and the challenge is just a part of it, right? And I will say that this was a generic tribe challenge, except that we did have the EOE and Winners of War Edge of Extinction Snake challenge to finish the competition that Rick Devens and Tyson won, which I wish. By the way, Boston Rob won that competition. I wish. Um, and I think it's interesting that they decided to use this as a puzzle section. I think they really just looked in their junkyard and they just found the snake puzzle, and they're like, okay, let's just use it because we don't have any intention of bringing the Edge of Extinction back anytime soon, right? So Sarah blows the competition. Um, as much as she blows the tribal council that happens soon. We're gonna talk about it. But what's to note that actually the most interesting part of the challenge is not even the challenge itself. It's the fact that Matthew says he practiced the puzzle in front of everybody, and then we see Carson at camp talking about how you keep those things to your chest. You don't tell everyone that um, you don't tell everyone that you've practiced stuff. It just makes you look a super fan. And I know everyone out there is pretty much a super fan. Everyone knows that everyone's a super fan, but you kind of just keep it secret, right? Um, and yeah, and look, Bryce is asking for Raccoon to go on the podcast. It's like Bryce just wants us to go off the air, right? Um, but yeah, so obviously the challenge goes as it does. The green tribe, which is Soko, and then the orange tribe, which is Ratu, they win immunity. Tika goes to tribal council, and we're gonna go to tribal talk right now. Helen, Carson, Sarah, and Jam Jam lock in the plan to vote out Carolyn, which obviously was not going to be what it was because we know that Carolyn, like, she literally got the first confessional of the season. She was a cold open to the season. They're not going to send her home in episode 2, right? That makes no sense. And she's a big character. They're editing her in a really weird way that, we obviously know she's going to go far, probably around the final 6 or so, definitely. And, all that outlast her. Her playing outlast her on Roblox really worked out for her, did it? Um, Rafu. Yeah. I don't know what Bryce is talking about. Someone just take action against him. He's talking about tofu or something. He's hungry. I don't know what he's doing. But so we talk about Carolyn, who, by the way, Jam Jam immediately after they lock in the plan snitches to Carolyn, or not really snitches. He doesn't actually. We don't see him actually telling her that she's being targeted. although she probably knows because he did tell her. Um, but Jam Jam says, okay, we need to flip the vote on somebody, and they both agree on Helen as they make these like, hand gestures about letters, right? Um, and by the way, off topic, but yeah, Radio Ranger's not here today, but off topic. But when they did the letters, I was trying to do every single letter in the alphabet with my hands. I don't even know why. I was just interested. I was doing C, B, D, everything. I don't know why. Just saying that for the record. Yeah, so we see like Carson comes in and agrees to work with them. So they have 3-2 numbers advantage, even though Sarah can't vote. So obviously it's a 3-1 numbers advantage. And Carolyn gets on the ground and starts crying. The closest thing she was like that was really her getting on the ground was one step away from doing something else with Carson. I'll tell you what that is off camera. And by the way, Bryce got timed out, which is the right thing. Um, so yeah, and then Carolyn talks to Jam Jam about okay, Carson's good with everyone. So she gets nervous that Carson's lying to her, and obviously I would feel the same way because why would like she asked Carson herself like why would you even work with me? I'm crazy. I'm weird. Why would you work with me over someone like Helen who's more rational and centered, and someone like Sarah as well who's also more centered than Carolyn? At least seems to be. Carolyn's obviously a big fan of the game. She knows the game. Um, she knows the game as well as as well as she's crazy, pretty much, right? So it's about the same level intelligence in game and then also craziness. So we go to Tribal Council, but before Tribal Council, Carson says he has a choice between a calm and collected side with Sarah and Helen, and then a crazy or chaotic side with Jam Jam and Carolyn. And we obviously know what side he picks, right? And by the way, thank you for deleting Raccoon out of the chat too. So he needs to go. He needs to go. And so yeah, we go to Tribal Council. This is like the most generic episode 2 boot ever. It's like the exact same thing as Justine. It's like this like female pre-juror like Molly from Island of the Idols or whatever, just getting blindsided or voted out, seemingly for no reason. It's like a big move, like it appears to be. Justine, we see Helen, we see like I guess Mariah in a sense, not even that much though. And usually it's in favor of the bigger characters, right? So in that aspect, it's the same thing. And yeah, so one of the biggest looming questions to me that we're going to probably see answered tonight is was Sarah in on this plan? Because it looks like she was at tribal council actually, which is funny. Unless she was like absolutely blindsided. Like she doesn't even look like she's blindsided. She just looked tired. She looks as tired as Helen did when she was getting her torch snuffed. So I don't even know if they actually brought her in the loop. Like kind of like we saw Xander and Xander Voce in Survivor 41, where Xander knew Voce was going home. I'm wondering if they actually told Sarah in advance to keep the tribe united, or they actually tried to blindside Sarah here. I don't know. I can see it going either way. And Blaze says Carolyn is insane, but has a good head for the game, and I agree with that, for the most part. So yeah, we see a lot of questions. To go back a bit. Questions were pretty boring. A lot of Helen blindside foreshadowing with the camera pans and all these things. Carolyn cries a bit. That's the most notable part about the questions. She cries and she doesn't want to cry, and she gets comforted by Helen after we know that she's gonna vote her out in like 3 minutes after. Um, and yeah, so pretty much exactly what you expect. I think nobody was expecting anybody but Helen to go home into this tribal council. It was an obvious boot, which is a good thing. Sometimes it's a good thing to have an obvious boot, as long as you can tell a good story up until then. Not everything needs to be a surprise blindside or live tribal council change of vote, right? If we can have a solid story that leads up to a boot that can actually make us rationalize why this happened, then you're all game. I'm game for it. It's all good. It's actually great. It's actually one of my favorite parts about Survivor, seeing why they voted him out instead of being confused and speculating what's going on and waiting for the exit interviews a day after or whatever. Like the viewer should not be confused ever. Um, they should always be able to at least follow the plot because when you lose a plot, you lose a viewer. I'm not gonna watch a product that I don't understand, so I'm happy that they made the boot obviously here relatively obvious. And anyone who's a Survivor edge connoisseur would know that Helen was going home. So yeah, the episode did a good job with that. And the episode did a obvious, like it was obvious that Helen was going home. There was no question about whether it was going to be, um, it was no question that Helen was going home here. Carolyn was getting too much content. She was too much of a character to be let go this early in the game. So yeah, and we talk about the preview. The preview shows Kane playing with sword, the immunity idol, basically the sword, and he talks about being a hero. Matthew says he never intended on playing an honest game. And then the showmans, which is Matt and Franny. We didn't even talk about Matt and Franny much here, but obviously they were getting a lot of content here with Claire's faces. Again, Claire and Carolyn are gonna be the meme emoji. Sorry, memes of the season. In essence, gifs and all those images of Claire like looking disgustedly at the two contenders, Matthew and Franny. And so yeah, um, Jam Jam faints seemingly, but then we look at the preview and he's not fainting. He's just acting. So like I don't know why they put that in there. They're trying like are they trying to make us scared for him or something? Like I don't know what they're trying to do. And then Danny, we see him eat an idol clue, which is amazing. I don't even know if that's edible. It would be funny if they made it out of like white chocolate or something. That'd be actually laughable. That you can eat your clue. Oh my god, imagine that. And yeah, like the episode was fine. It was fine. Like it was an expected whatever, right? And we saw a lot of different people. I wish we saw some content from Josh. Obviously, it was not warranted considering they didn't go to Tribal Council, and they had really no reason to show them. But I wish we got like one confessional from Josh again, because Josh is like pretty much invisible. And yeah, again, the episode was fine. By the way, I think we can unmute Raccoon and we can unmute Bryce. They're not gonna talk anyways that much, so I feel bad. You don't have to unmute our own members. Bryce, keep him muted. Actually, Bryce, keep him in timeout, but don't bring Raccoon back in the chat. Let's see if we can bring him back. But yeah, that's pretty much the all we have for the episode. It was actually a really good episode. If anyone has any last minute questions, I'll answer them and we can uh, talk about the episode tonight as well. The episode tonight is gonna be probably better. It's the third episode. Third and fourth boots are usually much better than the second boots. Obviously, we saw Molly. We saw these people again. Relatively obvious boots. That obviously they're gonna get blindsided. It's one of those like early Trouble Council they try to hype up. And yeah, so yeah. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys next time when we stream, which is probably gonna be tomorrow or after tomorrow when we talk about. Oh yeah, Raccoon's trying to log into the YouTube by the way. So, but yeah, thanks guys, and see you guys until then.